David Golub playing on his most recent release, a solo release on the Arabesque label, the last of the Drei Klavierstücke Deutsch 946. It's the Allegro from the 3 piano pieces. Beautiful playing.
Thank you.
Let's see. Oh, I want to talk about the Schubertiade because you're going to be playing there tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And lots of people are going to be playing there.
Actually, yes, it's being made to simulate one of the original Schubertiades in Schubert's time. And so it's a real, I mean, the theme of this year's Schubertiade is music that was either published or played in Schubert's lifetime. And that's for the most part the more intimate repertoire, songs, lieder, of course, dances. Most of the big works were unknown in his time. Totally unknown. So this year concentrates on that, and it's very, very nice. The evening is being set up as it would have been in Schubert's time, with a real mix, not only a mixed bag of repertoire, but a lot of alternation of repertoire. I'm playing some solo repertoire, a number of lieder with Hermann Prey and Benito Valente. There's four-hand music, there are songs with guitar, some of beautiful things with male quartet. It's quite nice.
That's extraordinary that you get to work with all these artists. You must have rehearsed so far. I mean, have you rehearsed yet?
Yes, of course.
So what's it like playing for Hermann Prey?
Oh, it's a great thrill, actually, and especially to play Earl King and The Wanderer. I mean, I've been going for a long time to concerts
of course.
To listening to him sing those. Some of my first experiences with this music, actually, through him.
Well, to hear him sing Winterreise or the Cycles or any of the songs, and he's made so many recordings. It must be wonderful.
Yes.
You're such a great accompanist too. I mean, have I heard you accompany? I've heard you in a trio setting and a duet. But just playing some of the piano parts you were to some songs, I thought, oh, this man is wonderful.
Well, it's a great repertoire, and you know, it's very difficult we talk about Schubert, we're concentrating on him today, but it's really not possible to play Schubert's solo piano music or his chamber music without knowing the leader.
Really?
It's actually, I think that's one of the greatest keys for a musician that plays instrumental music. When there was a great body of vocal music available, it can really help you out interpretively. Composers tend to use the same types of gestures for similar emotional characteristics. Different composers may use different ones, but they're consistent. A composer tends to be consistent. So if you go into lieder or opera, for that matter, in the case of Mozart, it would be operas, you see a certain type of musical gesture for a certain type of emotional state. And when you see that in the instrumental music, it's very clear what it must mean. And so it's very difficult for me. This was a great revelation. Of course, I love this music since I was young and used to sit for hours and read Schubert lieder and Mozart operas.
Did you? And so it started, I was going to ask you when it started, you playing the lieder of Schubert, but
I was
early.
Always, that's what I did usually instead of practicing. I was
You'd rather do that?
I would go to the library, yes, and check out mountains of books and read through them. It was much more interesting.
Oh, the songs are so beautiful. They seem so simple, and yet in their simplicity, they're so sophisticated.
Oh, absolutely.
They're deceptively sophisticated, aren't they?
Yeah, less is more. That's true. That's something that Beethoven and Schubert share in common.
He could write the simplest line with seemingly the simplest harmony, and it would be so moving.
Well, what Schubert does that always amazes, actually thrills me, is he deals with harmony in a way that he can make the closest tonal relationships sound totally bizarre and unexpected, and the most distant ones sound totally natural.
It's true. Now you were going to play some Chopin waltz.
Well, you know what I thought? We've been playing Schubert and Brahms and talking about Schubert's influence on, very clear and obvious influence on German composers who came after him. But I thought what I might do actually is play a couple of Schubert waltzes and then follow into a Chopin waltz, because I don't know how much Chopin actually knew, but there are some remarkable similarities. I think when you hear them back to back, it's very interesting.
So which Schubert will you play?
Well, maybe a couple of the waltzes from D790, and just the very short ones, and I'll go into the Chopin C-sharp minor.
Great.
Waltz.
My guest on Around New York, David Golub. Is a Chopin waltz in C sharp minor, and 2 waltzes of Franz Schubert, the numbers 7 and 8 from Deutsch listing 790.
790.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
And you make it sound so simple. This fellow has been here now for a while doing sound checks, and every time they ask him to play something soft, I mean, he plays and play something loud, and it all looks so easy.
Oh, I'm
and
glad,
beautiful.
I'm glad it looks that way.
It does. It doesn't seem that way. Well, tomorrow evening, you are at the Schubertiad at the 92nd Street Y.
Yes.
People can call the box office for information and tickets. It starts at 8 o'clock.
8
You'll be
o'clock.
on throughout the evening. It's
Off and on throughout the evening.
It's like a soiree, just as Schubert might have had. He wouldn't have had it in an auditorium. He would have had it in his home, I guess.
Right, but I think actually the stage is being made up to actually resemble
Isn't that nice?
a sort of a Biedermeier living room, and
Oh, Biedermeier.
well,
I love
that's
that.
appropriate.
I just wanted to name some of the other people that will be there with you. Hermann Prey will be singing, and Benito Valente, Richard and John Cantaguglia.